blue and black, or white and gold. No doubt some of you already know what I'm talking about, but for those of you who don't, imagine you're wasting time on the internet, like you do, and you come across a picture of a dress. This dress was a viral meme that broke the internet in two back in February 2015. Now, some people thought this dress was blue and black, while others were just as adamant that it was white and gold. But how is this possible? How could we be looking at the same dress and see two completely different dresses? Doesn't make sense. For all that neuroscience has revealed about the senses, we still understand very little about how and why senses differ from one person to the next. We are becoming more and more aware that they do differ, and sometimes it's by quite a bit. In my case, my senses are blended pretty uniquely, and how I found this out took me by surprise. Okay, so back in college, I was taking a music theory course, like you do. On the very last day, our professor gave us what he thought was an interesting tidbit. He said, some people can physically see sounds. To which I replied, duh, what are you doing? This wasn't news to me. I grew up hearing in color. When I hear a musical note, I automatically see flashes of shapes and colors. It's just how it's always been. I've never known any other way. But what was news to me was that this made me different. Imagine being in your 20s and finding out something brand new about how you physically experience the world. Blew my mind. And if our primary understanding comes from the senses, what does that mean for those whom the senses are crossed? What can we learn about the brain from such a phenomenon? And I'll admit, it sounds really trippy, but this is real. The phenomenon I'm referring to is called synesthesia. Now, synesthesia is just a general term to describe when two senses are inherently crossed, causing stimulation from one sense to lead to an automatic, involuntary experience in another. So for example, someone who has grapheme, which are just numbers and letters, to color synesthesia might see this word like this. Synesthesia, first word, like this. Now, sidebar, these are just the colors that I experience for these letters, and it is most likely going to be different for any other person with this type of synesthesia. It's beautiful, and it's kind of incredible when you get several people with the same type of synesthesia in the same room, because they will throw down to talk about what color something actually is. Whatever that means, that's great. Now, synesthesia isn't as rare as originally believed. It was once thought that only 1 in 2 million people had it. But now more research has been done, and genetic links have been found that suggest as many as 1 in 23 people have some form of it. Now, let's put that into perspective. Think about every single person you know that has an allergic reaction to peanuts. Alright? You got it? Now, imagine them all in one group. Now, double the size of that group. Whether you realize it or not, statistically, that's roughly how many people you personally know that have synesthesia. That's great. Now, I'm a musician, and I use my synesthesia to learn songs. I pay attention to the landscape that correlates with musical colors, and make it happen. And, like I said, it is a very personal experience, and it can be actually hard to depict and describe to someone who doesn't have it. In order to do so, my husband Matt Hova and I have created a synesthesia light show to show you what I see. These are what musical notes look like to me. C is always red. D is always blue. E is super yellow. F is like a weird light green, while G is super green. And then A is like an orangish red. B is purple. I'm gonna finish it. Okay. This is what a song sounds like.
Good evening, and welcome to the Brighton High School Auditorium. We are delighted to have you with us for tonight's performance. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones, pagers, and other electronic devices. For tonight's performance, video and photography are permitted. However, please refrain from using a flash, as it is distracting to the performers. Please take a moment to identify the fire exits located in the front and rear of the auditorium. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please move in an orderly fashion to the nearest exit. We encourage you to stay for the entirety of tonight's performance. If you must leave, please do so between musical numbers. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
hosting you here. First of all, I just want to say how crazy it is to be standing up here talking about synesthesia when many years ago, or just a few years ago, my friends and family laughed at me for saying that the letter Q is the color of lichen on a rock, and that my leg cramps are sunset orange, and that a song on the radio is purple and white. In case you're not familiar, synesthesia is a neurological condition in which a person experiences two senses at once. It's estimated that about 4% of humans have it. There are different forms of synesthesia, but this concert is all about a form called chromesthesia, in which a person listens to music or sounds and associates them with movements, shapes, or colors. And I can't wait for you all to get a taste of what it's like to have synesthesia. Which brings me to the people who I want to thank. First of all, I want to thank D-Law for turning what started as a silly conversation about my synesthesia and transforming it into a beautiful and elaborate concert. I also want to say a huge thanks to the people who are making this idea come to life through the decorations and the lighting and everything else that goes on behind the scenes. And lastly, I want to thank you all, because you all are what literally make this orchestra possible, but you also make this specific concert possible. Because this concert isn't about me and my synesthesia. It's about giving you all an opportunity to rethink the way you listen to music. I hope that your experience tonight teaches you a bit about synesthesia, but most importantly, encourages you to think deeper while listening, to think beyond the music you hear and think about the emotions you feel. Thank you.
time. And for those of you that have ninth graders, welcome to our innovative experiences where you never know what's going to happen in this concert hall. There are not many places that would allow us to make music in this way together. There aren't many colleagues that you can go to, like Dr. Fisher, and say, hey, I have this idea. I read this study on synesthesia. They used Mozart's flute concerto as the baseline study. Can you play part of that concerto with us so that we can use it as an example? When Nora first came to me and we started talking about synesthesia, a lot of different ideas came up for this concert, and everyone got engaged in so many different ways, because we talk about original thought, creating original thought. We talk about taking risks. We talk about making connections between everything that you do. And all of this was a community, really truly a community gathering of ideas. We can't have lighting like this everywhere. Thank you, Jack, for the beautiful work. And Nadine, who supported me in the idea for the program book. And for all the administration that says, yes, you have this idea, run with it. Bring everybody in together. Colleagues that listen to all these different ideas and walk through the room while we're making conversations. So while we were speaking a lot about the different colors that people hear or see or experience during music, a memory came back to me when I was a child. I would always go see the New York City Ballet in Saratoga Springs. And I was just talking to my mom about this last week, and I said, you know, the drop, the visual scrim that opens the ballet every season at SPAC was silver with these beautiful lights shining through and swirls of kind of this opalescent coloring in it. And I've never forgotten that image, and it stays with me all the time. So when I saw New York City Ballet this summer with Justin Peck's work and the actual drop that was made by a Hudson Valley contemporary artist, that was what you now see on the program cover, I thought, this is the color palette for this evening. This is where we need to go with this. And all the students got on board with picking pieces that would sort of match that scheme. So I said that this was interactive because it is, but it's interactive for introverts. So you don't have to really do much. And it's just so that you can kind of listen to music for a second time and maybe sense it a little differently or experience it as an image or a color or creative thought, much like we're constantly pushing all the artists behind me to do, and to be fearless. So we're going to play 3 musical examples that you've already heard this evening, just short excerpts. And you all have the program book in your hand that's on a little ring binder. If you will just speak to one another after each example, and decide what color it spoke to you while you were listening. You can close your eyes, you can sit with your eyes open, and think about that. And then I'm going to take a photo, because the UC Berkeley study that was done, that used the Mozart flute concerto, found that it doesn't matter what culture you're from, there's emotion and color behind music, even if you don't have synesthesia. So we want to take a grid picture, much like what they did. They had a color palette of 37 colors. You have maybe 8 or 9, because Nadine would, if I went in and said, I want all the colors, all of them, I don't think that would go over very well, though she's amazing. But I would like you then to hold it up, we'll take a photograph, and then you can see the grid pattern of what the general idea of the colors that this audience sees when they hear the music. So we're going to begin actually back where we started. And then we'll move through just 3 different excerpts, and for each excerpt I'm going to take a photo. So be photo ready after you have a short discussion. Maybe photos aren't for introverts, I don't know. above your heads. Hold them way up high. Yes, please. Interesting. That's what they're all saying. They're like, I always say that sometimes experiments give you more questions than answers. So the next one now is just beginning the moment. Let's watch this magic. Eventually you'll see an image appear on a wall. I don't know what that was. This is your next, look. Yellow, look at the yellow. Okay, I'm supposed to stay focused. Here we go. This is Mozart. Do you need longer or shorter time? Same, okay.
Oh my God!
Oh wow, this is different. Okay, everybody over their heads. It's totally different. You can't see from where you are maybe. But it's a lot of yellows and a lot of oranges and reds. It's very different. You'll see the evidence on the wall. They want me to take a selfie. I said no. Now, the last excerpt is this from the Italian dances, and I have to say this is my favorite movement here. But everybody in the orchestra, look, you see how bright the colors are for that Mozart, which is what we were talking about when we were looking at that study. And there you can see it. This is guano, the first read. Yep. Nora wants you to know that to her it sounds purple. Don't change your cards. But that's what this one is to her. Okay. 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you so much for doing this, because this takes everything that we've been talking about in the orchestra room and turns it into reality for us all to see three-dimensionally. Do you have a question? Oh, yes. Oh. What colors were the other two? They said light green for both of them, but sometimes with a haze of, I put haze in your as a word, but haze of pink. Like it's just a little pink edge. Depends on the note. You're very good at participating, I have to say. Thank you. The last one will go up. Now, the rest of the concert is all about you just sitting back, listening, and enjoying the pieces. There's a broad selection that the musicians have picked for you this evening. Enjoy, and thank you so much. Thank you for this community. You're amazing. Green Sleeves. And the next one we're performing is Red Pony excerpts by Copeland. So that's mimicking the front cover page that Justin Peck's were Copeland episodes this summer at the ballet.
Thank you.